Hey, folks. Adjusting my mic, adjusting my camera positioning and my window just a touch here, just to micromanage things. So we're gonna do some artwork this morning. I'm gonna get to work here in a moment. I don't have a countdown thing rolling, but so you get to watch me mutt around with my stuff here and do pre-prep. If you're already familiar with the channel, you can skip ahead a minute and we'll get to work. But I'm gonna be pressing some social media buttons here for a moment, and then we'll get to work here for about an hour or so. Doing a mic check. Okay, that sounds pretty good. All right, cool. We got that there, and I can bring this down a smidge. Cool. I'm gonna grab the link here, and so just to introduce myself and to get to work here, we do artwork here in the morning every day. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And we are currently creating an adventure for the world of Eberron using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We'll be publishing on the DMsGuild. It's for characters level 7 and 8. There we go. Okay, something was going wonky. Post, and looks like... Yeah, we're looking good there. Okay, cool. Yeah, I am off today, guys. I am just off. So I'm done with my social media posting. I created this book cover. It was around episode 40 of this stream. Let me fix my... This is just an uncharacteristically off morning for me. So if you're still here and you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. We're at episode 430 today of creating all of this content. Here's the entire playlist here. The book cover here we created back around episode 40, and we are currently working on planar artifacts for the Eberron campaign setting. Eberron has 13 planes of existence that orbit around Eberron. And the way this adventure works is the Eye of Mabar is in this adventure, and all of these artifacts are used to create manifest zones. A manifest zone, if you're not familiar with the Eberron campaign setting, a manifest zone is when the two planes co-terminate, as in like they overlap with each other, and then they have sort of a porous transparency with each other. This adventure, Crystals of Mabar, is about a cult of necromancers using the Eye of Mabar to open, to create a permanent manifest zone that terraforms the environment that is merged together to create a necrotic effect that they can use to open up a portal to Mabar the Endless Night, as well as give them access to easy necromancy, raising the dead, creating exotic materials that can be used as spell components, and potions and other items that are detailed in the book. And so what we're doing right now is taking that idea and then applying it to all 13 planes of existence. This adventure is about creating a manifest zone and a passage to Mabar, the Endless Night, but each plane has a corresponding artifact that, if performed with a ritual, will open up a portal and permanentize a manifest zone to each of those locations. So basically, like right now, we're working on the Fleet of Serana, the Azure Sky. It's kind of like a mix between Bitopia and the Endless and the Plane of Air. It's kind of like a blend between those two ideas. And so, performing the ritual with the flute. This is what the... Here's the map of planes that are in orbit around Eberron, and looking for Serania. Here you go. Here's Serania. So this is what the symbol of Serania looks like. So flute goes here. Sounds come out through the pipes. Maybe we should call it like the pipes of Serania. Maybe that would be better. But here's the flute that we're making out of it. And so this is where we're going to continue today. Let's drop this in here. Yeah, that seems appropriate. I think that's probably the roughest. I think it's the probably roughest intro I've ever had. Oh my god. So I stream Monday through Fridays in the morning. I do artwork like this. We do actual game design on Tuesdays and Fridays at lunch. And again on Mondays and Thursday nights. Tonight's going to be a little unusual because we're going to be playing a Shadow Dark adventure. I'll be participating. Wally DM, no, How to RPG. Fred Wheeler is going to be Game Master, and it's going to be ran on Wally DM's channel. If you want to hang out and watch the show, I'll post a link in the promo channel of my Discord. Here is my Discord community here. If you want to join, it doesn't cost anything to be there. Oh yeah, and then all the books that I've already created on DMsGuild, Spelljammer stuff, Color Magic for Magic the Gathering, the Color Mana Spell Point variant rules, Point Warlocks, Theurgy, a bunch of different books that we've created are already available on DMsGuild. They all have free previews, so you can go check them out and read them through. If you think they're cool, you want to add them to your campaign, or if you just like the ideas and you want to see similar behavior in the future, consider making a purchase to you know, inspire me to keep doing this stuff. So I'm going to keep doing it regardless. Honestly, it says people buy my books because they want me to do more. That's just like whatever book you buy is encouraging me to make more of that. So take some time, check out my stuff. It's all, again, you can view all the stuff that I've made at no cost. I'll eventually be doing Kickstarters when I'm finally done working on 5th edition work. I will export myself to creating different system stuff, but I've been a DM playing Dungeons and Dragons for 40 years. It's in my blood, and all the IPs that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s, like Spelljammer, Planescape, in particular. And then I started DMing Eberron in I think 2004, and it became my prime material plane of choice. Pretty much immediately when I started using Eberron, it's a great campaign world, and so all these things are D&D specifically, or even more precise. These are all WotC Wizard of the Coast IPs. So if I wanna play in that world, I could either publish stuff as fan content on Patreon, or I can publish on the DMsGuild. Those are basically the two options that I have, and I've chosen to go with the DMsGuild to have a storefront where people are going to be able, that are interested in 5e content, generally go and find more material. And since I create work by hand and don't use AI, my work stands out really well when I finish a piece. It just takes a long time because I manually produce everything here on screen with you guys. The angle on this is off. I need to change that. But I come up with an idea. So the way that this stream works is that we come up with an idea. We'll stream ideation. What do we say? Ideation to publication. So you come up with an idea. So you start running through what that idea could do, and if it works, if the concept works, we play test it to see if it's fun and any issues that would arise from it mechanically. And if the playtest goes well, then we polish the mechanics, clean it up, hire an editor to make sure it word good, and then when we get it back from the editor, we do page layouts and artwork for the pages. Typically, when a piece is off to the editor, that's when we do the book cover. And then once we get it back from the editor, we have the book cover done. The book cover is the most difficult piece. It's also the first impression, and basically the invitation to check out whatever it is that you got going on. So there's a high value with the book cover. So you always want to do the book cover first, so that you understand like, so you know what what you're introducing to people, and because the most difficult piece has already been done, you don't have to, like, the last thing you want is to have your product delayed because you haven't finished the cover yet. And if the cover is the only thing that's keeping your piece from getting published, then there's a higher chance of shortcutting the book cover. And since it's the first impression that anyone gets of the work that you've put in, you can't afford to let that be an obstacle to sharing the work. So you do that first, and you work your way down the priority list. Knock out the most important things before you even have anything to share. And then as the piece gets closer to completion, you can start knocking down getting to less and less important things. So when you get down to the very end of it, you're like, is this something I actually even need or not? And sometimes the list of assets that you have aren't necessary, or you'll find new things that are needed. And if you don't want to, so if you have to introduce new pieces that you hadn't anticipated originally, you aren't resenting them because you're already on top of your list of assets that need creating. And this is still a little off. I think I need to. I think this should probably get us to where we need to be. That. That's better. Oh, I see. This is going this way, and this is going this way. That's the disconnect. So what I actually need to do is grab this, and let's see if I can distort. That feels better. Nice. Okay, great. So now this can just be a little bit bigger. Actually, it's not bigger. It just needs to, I think, shift back a smidge, and let's do a little bit of a skew. Yeah, that's better. My phone ba-doo-doo-dooped. All right, we're going to make you quiet. And we're going to take a sip of coffee. We're rocking the hazelnut today. You know what? I'm going to grab this. Really? Subtle. Okay. Let's drop this down a little bit. Okay. What I really need to do is get rid of these altogether. Let's rebuild the foundation here. I'm okay with these being pillowy and cloud-like. So we gotta get our shit right. Our angles are off. I'm okay with that being jilted. I'm almost thinking bagpipes now. I don't mind changing. It's no egg on my face to have a better idea. The shame comes from when you have a better idea and you're not willing to pursue it because I don't know, laziness or whatever reasons you have. So is bagpipes a better idea than this? And I don't necessarily think so because I like this. Because it's the shape that I wanted. I wanted once we realized that we could make like the symbol of Serania. It looks cool, and but it feels like, you know, like an ocarine or like a flute. So I wanted to retain that. Let's acknowledge that perspective is a thing, so it's tilting towards the camera. Here. So yeah, we're gonna be doing we're gonna be playing some. I've never played Shadow Dark before. I read through the rules yesterday. Pretty simple, very broke down, simple version of 5e, like a Beckme 5e crossbreed. Pretty straightforward. There might be some subtle nuances that I've missed, but I'm planning on running a cleric. We're playing first level. Probably be like maybe 3 hours of game. And then after that, so that should go from like 5 till 8 Seattle PST time or 8 till 11 East Coast. And then I think I'm going to probably jump on stream here on my own channel and probably work on the Bastion system some. I don't know, maybe. I love my Thursday night streams. I really do. Let's see. Let's grab this and bring this down. But that's a lot. That's a lot for a Phil to have going. Oof. If we use let's do perspective. I wonder if is it this? Is it this that's breaking my brain? There. That's what I needed. That is better. One of the I am a little concerned that I might be putting too much on my plate. Let's go with perspective. This needs to be free transform, skewed a little bit. Yeah, like that. Now we can take this and see, this is no longer lining up. Here, here, and now we can free transform perspective. Let's go with free transform so we can give it a bit of a twist. How's that sit? Still feels a little off, so I'm going to delete. Let's grab this, copy paste. Free transform, increase the size. Merge these down just to do. God, that feels just off. I feel like this just needs a little bit of a tweak. Now that's starting to feel better. Delete that again. Grab this again. Copy, paste. Now it's starting to feel a little bit. This perspective stuff on these organic-ish shapes are tricky sometimes. God, this still feels off. What a pain, you know? Transform. Give that a tilt. Tilt. I tell you, us artists, we can call each other out on bad perspective. If you aren't, some people can't see it. Like the craft of the art itself can sometimes disguise if something is flawed or not. That's looking better. Let's get rid of that. Let's grab this again. Paste. God, it just feels wrong. We have to have. It looks like there's going to be a little bit of a bend. That feels good. And then here. So you really got to shit test yourself to make sure all your bits are properly aligned. Because you'll see it eventually. The artist that you are right now might not be able to see the flaw, but the artist that you'll be a month from now will. So I occasionally go in and tweak my paintings in books. There. Because I can't just let stuff sit. Thank you, Timely Timer. Not 100%, not quite. Okay, let's do the let's do the classic inversion. Flip horizontal to find our. When you flip things horizontally or even vertically, sometimes you'll see structural flaws because you're not locked inside the perspective that you were in a moment ago. And so let's see if we can find our flaws this way. Free transform. This needs to be a little bit bigger. That'll help with the perspective because by making one side significantly smaller than the other, you're forcing perspective. So we want to break that frame. Free transform. Hey Domo, you've caught me thinking, as I'm struggling with perspective on this fecking flute. See, okay, that's better. See, now the width of the pipe on either side is more. See how this is thinner than this one? Here, I'll cut this out here because it's hard to tell because of the forced perspective, but it's smaller. So I need to increase the size on this so that I can. There, that's almost accurate. Let's see. We just want to bring it down just a tig. Like that. And then I feel like I want to give it a bit of a twist. Like that. Still not quite there. There. Great. Now those are properly lining up in a proper T. I mean that's off a little bit, but you can see it. So now we can see that there's more space here than there is here. So we need to grab this and scooch this down a bit. There we go. Okay, we're already lining up better. And now we can see a more accurate perspective for the, see, like this one is too small. So we adjusted here and we copied this from here. So we can see now that like this is here. Where you at, buddy? Here, and then it jags upward, right? So you're a straight line here, but then it angles a little bit, so you break the perspective. So we need to grab this and give it a twist like that, and then expand on the size. How you doing today, Doma? There. And then looking better. See, this is how, see, it's obvious now this is skewed. Like there's more space angle here. From here to here. And then you can see from here to here. Look how skewed that perspective comes. But it's hidden because of the length of the shaft. And the curvature here is concealing how broken, like how the perspective is actually like bending. And so that's that I would be angry about this like in probably about 2 weeks. That would frustrate the hell out of me. But now we're force locking perspective a little bit better. It's still a little off. Like I feel this is still a tick off of where it's supposed to be. Let's try skewing this. And now I can afford to bring that in just a smidge. Get some of that perspective back in place. Almost there, stay on target. Things are such a pain. This is a great example of the difference between the aesthetics of a sketch and the technical bits of actually cleaning up the art. Like when things are sketchy, you can afford to have skewed anatomy and skewed perspective because it's more of an attitude than technical precision that you're working with. And as I move from sketch into final production, that's when you start having like all the energy sapped out of a piece, because it's that curve linear. It's like that curvature is often where the cool factor of a piece is in. It's the cool factor is hiding inside of bad anatomy. So that's a risk that you have to keep an eye out for. You know, for budding artists out there. Domo, I see smart. See some text. What's up? Perspective and proportions is always tricky to pin down. Yes, I'm doing good. Great. Just working from home. Hey, right on, man. That's how I can catch your streams on the days I work from home. My day just started. I do my artwork in the morning before my work from home day starts. I am fortunate to be in an office admin position, doing basically marketing analytics for an advertising firm here in Seattle. I generally try to stay away from naming myself to avoid unnecessarily doxing, of course. Okay, so now we can see that the perspective on the front end here is off because it's just replicating what we did back here. So if I were to get rid of that and pick this up again, copy, paste. This should be out here. Free transform. let's still having challenges, so we're going to get even more radical. Let's lock these down, merge down there, and let's drop this here. We're going to go all the way back to boxes. So go here to here. Oops, new layer. I thought this was going to be a quick victory because this is moving quickly, but alas, earwax. See, okay, so literally a parallel, and you can already see the distorting effect. This is without distortion. Oops, like this. Copy, paste. See, look how broken my perspective was already. That's crazy. Dude, where are you at? God, even this feels okay. I'm going to merge these down. I'm having a day, apparently. Hey, look at me. I'm showing my ass on screen. All right, let's double check ourselves here real quick. Are these the same? Yes, they are. Good. So we can take this tip here and drag it to this tip here. Take this tip here, this tip here. All right, we now have an accurate box, but I don't necessarily like the perspective on that. It should be fine. Let's copy, paste, and paste. We'll take these two, and we'll make these smaller. And we'll take this, and we'll make this bigger. Even with these all being literally the same, it still feels skewed somehow. Isn't that interesting? What's up? Whoa, lots of text. Yeah, absolutely it is. I wish better with art to make for my D&D campaigns. Hey, what's up, Brian? I remember playing over a decade ago, and we were using graph paper to set dungeons. It was fun, but you definitely lose potential immersion. I like the gamification of it. I grew up, I started DMing back in the 80s. And I've been at it for almost 40 years now. And most of when I'm running, there's two gears that I basically run in. I either run in like a 5e ultra mechanical. Like we're running a dungeon crawl right now on my Discord server, and it's to play test the martial power mechanics. And yes, Domo, you're absolutely right. It's this big knob in the middle. But look at that. Look how this perspective, like, it's so much more obvious now how distorted this is when we line it up compared to, like, here's forced perspective, and then here's the free organic look. Like, the organic look, the organic piece looks pretty good, but when we actually structure it, we can see, like, how much of a mess is going on. So let me take a moment here to actually bond these together and see if there's a consistent perspective shift that we can do that's going to get the aesthetic that we want. Because if we can get a consistent, if we have between these 3 points, we should be able to create a stylized look. Because it's all circular anyway. I mean, like, you know, like tubes and stuff. So we don't have to worry about the squares, but we're inserting the squares right now to make sure that we're retaining our proportions, right? So now we're starting to get, and I could even say, no, I want to rotate a little bit like that. But yeah, when I'm running a normal, my typical weekly game, Ryan, is I'm like 100% theater of the mind, like all the time, and rarely do I bother providing any kind of visuals at all. My quote unquote weekly game. I have 2 weekly games. I've got the 5e dungeon crawl that I run on my Discord server, where we're playtesting the martial power mechanics to give marshals a magic based resource system and multiple options like spellcasters have, you know, to prepare martial powers. But then during my weekly game, look at that perspective shift. That's so interesting. But then my weekly game that I actually run like with friends, it's actually a coworker game that I run at lunchtime. With a bunch of other remote workers like IT and marketing and advertising and HR. So we've got a really wide group of different type of players that are in the game, but we only play for about an hour a week. So I don't have time for maps. I don't have time. It's a very, very fast, loose, like Beckme / Shadow Dark type of very simple game that allows us to narrate quickly, and there's really no time for maps and like high detailed precision placement and stuff like that. It has to be narrative by nature, just because of the time constraints that we have. So it's allowed us to basically create a very fast flowing, improvised. This is why I want to do, okay, well, I don't want to waste time belaboring the issue, so give that a shot and let's see what happens sort of game space. That is, it allows a lot more creativity and like improvising, like what's in the environment. And so it's all theater of the mind. And the less I have to, honestly, the less I have to put down on paper, the more creative space there is. Like if you have a dungeon environment that's got like 3 tables and a chair in it, it's hard for the DM to say, well, no, there's actually 5 chairs in the room. I just didn't add them to the map. It's better just to have a blank space and say, hey, in this room are these doodads and blah de blah. I'm gonna put a nib here and put a nib here, trusting the perspectives on these are accurate at this point because we skewed everything together. Like that. See, that's too wide, so we'll go here. There we go. That's starting to line up better. This is still fugged. So we're gonna have to figure out this circle in the middle bit here. But I like both styles of game. I like the ultra specific, the tactile, gamifying, like game pieces moving through the clue mansion, right? Like you have so many spaces that you can move, and now you're within reach of an object or whatever. I like that style of play because that's how I ran the game in like BECME first, second, third edition. I didn't do a lot in fourth edition, but it was also tactical in the same sense. It wasn't until fifth edition that I actually started really getting into theater of the mind. I remember back in first and second edition using inches and a ruler like Warhammer, not having a grid at all. It's just like, how far away am I from that target, and like everything being like no squares, no specific angled movements at 45-degree angles. Instead, just being, I want to go to this location, and then just having a ruler. Is that within 6 inches? Yeah, you can arrive at that space. And so we just have a blackboard, and we would just drop. We just have a giant blackboard that we laid down on top of the ottoman, and I'd chalk out the rough rooms, and then we'd all put our tokens on there, and then we would just figure out how far away from each other are we with a measuring tape. Very old school style. And I can see that this is off. Jesus, this is, God, why is this so difficult? Let's do this. And what I should have done is put the circle on here and do the same. Thank you, Timely Timer. And do the same and lock it in with the same perspective, so it would have been guaranteed accurate. But alas, I did not do that. So okay, what we actually need to, instead of doing that, what I actually need to do is create a box. Here and here. I see text. Hold on. What the hell's over there? Thank you. Now we can distort and get this lined up. There. What's up? Hey, Gabby. Right on. God, oh my God. How? I mean, if you love doing that, that's great. Just created Fallout 1 in a virtual table with 2D20. Oh, right on. Using original isometric maps and such. Took a minute, but now I don't have to set up anything else. Players loving it since they never played. Oh, that's so fun. Right on. Isometric maps are amazing. I love that stuff. Yeah, they take. Hey, Gabby, these really do take a long time to build, but they're gorgeous when you do. Like I was saying with the mega dungeon that we're running, it's a lot to create all these different zones of all these different environments and stuff. Hold on, I need to perspective a bit. There we go. And then scale up. And then distort just a smidge. Make sure that these edges are lining up properly and that these edges are lining up properly. I think we're looking pretty good there. Yeah, we're doing okay. See, now these lines are lining up and these lines are lining up. So this space here is pretty good. Let's check our symbol again. There's a symbol that we're working with. Wider, thinner. Curve space inside there. So this is supposed to be as wide as this. This is supposed to be not as wide as these. This is turning out okay. Great. We're locking it down. I should have done this originally. I mean, you know, whatever. You don't know until you know. Here and here still works. Excuse me. Let's here. Let's take this and bring it down. But the pain and effort of going through the mega dungeon and building out the dungeon and populating the dungeon and then thinking about how the things that are in it are interacting with each other, it's a labor of love for sure, but it's absolutely worth the effort. I am officially concerned about this line of engagement. Yeah. Okay, this is lining up. I think I'm going to be okay with this. So now we can go and build our curve inside of this square like that. Good thing Foxtrot's not here because he'd be barking at me because he's an architect. And we've talked about CAD and three-dimensional modeling before, and I think he would be laughing at me right now having so many difficulties. So cheers to you, Fox. Yeah, this is panning out. So we can push this to here. Despite that perspective being weird, it doesn't really matter because we're going to put in a curve here. We're going to have a curve here like this. We don't need to worry about that. Let's take all of this. Bring it down a touch so we can start rebuilding from there. Here's where we started, or rather, here's where we started, and here's where we are now. Let's up the. This is where we were, and this is where we are now. Better. All right, cool. So let's drop the opacity on this, and I think we should be able to create something organic out of this now. Wow, what an effort! Just recreated up to speed. Hey, what's up, Francois? Yeah, they really are gorgeous. You're right, Gabby. They are the only kind of map I like making. Well, they're certainly fun because it's fun being able to stack up like multiple levels inside of the same map. Being devolved. This is you never. The flart. Well done, guys. Well done. Let's actually, yeah, let's flip the perspective back. This is how it's going to actually be sitting on the page, and then let's give it a little bit more of a twist here. There we go. Should I be concerned that there's a direct line from here to here? Maybe. It sits inside the space good, though. All right, let's get after it. Pitter patter. Pitter patter. There. Okay, back on page. Let's now that we have our shape in place, we should be able to start doing organic-y stuff, and it should feel okay. So we can put our knob in here. We'll knob each of these T-bars here like that. And then we've got our doing some sketchiness. This feathering sketch type work is how I do real rough pieces, and then we'll go back through and we'll trace. These are basically like my quote-unquote pencils right now, and then we'll drop the opacity and go over it, and then we'll go over it again. So we did the original pencils that are now faded. Now we're doing our second draft to start creating the aesthetic that we want, and then we'll drop the opacity on that, and then we'll ink the aesthetic over the structure. It's a bit of a process. I'm sure a better artist would be able to do it more efficiently, but I am only the artist that I am, so I can only do it the way that I can do. And as we develop over time, we create better methods of production, and we improve. So long-wind projects like this are a lot of fun for me because they do provide me the opportunity. They're intense short burst projects that I try to maintain a consistency and style that have often in the past expanded my my technique as well as my familiarity. Like for example, the Spelljammer book that we made, which is linked in the description down below. I had not done a lot of vehicle art prior to the Spelljammer book. I mean, I've done some vehicles off and on, but never a focused effort. And so that book is all about vehicles, vehicle combat, fleet combat, characters operating on a vehicle as their platform. Never done so much vehicle art as I had done for the Spelljammer book. And so it gave me an opportunity to get a lot more comfortable with that sort of content. Vehicles as objects are a lot more structured and less organic than, people are. So it was intimidating to me to work on that. So, but it was something I knew that I would have to be able to resolve. So as a result of it, I feel far more confident now in vehicles and structures. There you go. Almost back. This feels too. Yeah, it feels too big. We're going to thin this line down a little bit here. We're going to put a little bit of a bend into it, like antlers. It's a little bit of a curve. But yes, this is looking so much better. Very, very much more pleased. And we got our circles here, and we got a circle here. Got a circle here. I see more text. Hold on. I'll catch up with you guys. I can bring this in here like that. Now this is going to make a lot more sense. Get back, Loretta. Nice. All right, hey, what's up? The ever humble master of the fart flute. At hard service than I am at organic stuff when it comes to drawing 3D modeling. Nice. See, yeah, like the Mecha Kaiju, the Spelljammer Mecha book that I'll be building. That's going to be all like Warframes and like Veritech and Destroids and stuff like that. It's all mechanical suits, precision engineering, which is going to be the next evolution of Phil getting comfortable with vehicle art, converting. I started with suits of armor. Like the very first artwork I started doing as like a 5-year-old was tanks and planes, right? Like with like little dotted lines of bullets shooting at each other, because you know I was a little boy. And then by the time I got to 12 and I started getting Robotech hit the market, I think I was like, maybe it was around from like age, I want to say 10 till 12, I think, is when it was in the market. I mean, I was already watching G-Force it was called Battle of the Planets here in America. But I was already getting into anime and vehicle combat stuff. I was already geeking out on that kind of crap. And so when I actually started getting into role-playing games, the first 2 role-playing games that I got was D&D and Robotech, the Palladium adaptation. And because I was obsessed with Robotech already, because it was on the show, it was on in the afternoons. So I'd watch Robotech. I'd run home for the bus and I'd always miss the first 5 minutes of Robotech unless we got really lucky. And I loved the theme song, so I was always bummed out about that. Love the Robotech theme song, but so I'd run home and watch 20 minutes of Robotech. And then the role-playing game, Palladium licensed it and started creating the Robotech RPG. And I was already introduced to the red box set of Beckme for Dungeons and Dragons by the time I was 12. And I started getting into art at that point. And so I started with Veritech and Battler Mech. And that translated into suits of full plate armor, which then eventually evolved into chainmail and leather. Because I'm always making armored knights, but most of these characters in D&D don't wear full armor. So I translated full armor from Veritech, from mecha suits is a big stretch. And so then from there, I gotta work on this curve here a little bit. So I started thinking about materials and then chain. Leather is a lot like plate if you aren't paying attention to the texture. So I started getting into leather, and then I was like, well, chainmail's a thing. So I started getting into half plate with pieces of being chain work. And then I started expose actual organic material like hands and arms and legs. I started showing more skin inside the armor. And working with draping, with fabric and stuff, that started to become a concern. And then along the lines, it was more than just eyes peeking out of a visor. It became a nose and then a mouth and the full face. And now we have a thin enough armor, we have a bare head now. So this is the natural evolution of me learning how to art each of these little steps along the way of how can I make my D&D characters look more like the character, like what the inventory list is? How can I depict that stuff? And so that's kind of the journey that I took. And once I started moving away from the mecha into the human form, and then I started getting into animals and how is the anatomy different there? And I stepped further and further away from hard mechanical stuff. And so at a certain point, my anatomy, my organic anatomy of humans and just creatures outpaced my hardline object skills and my environmental skills, and that was fine for quite some time because I was doing like a lot of character portraits and stuff like that. But then I started sensing like, hey, I'm creating these characters, but they're in a static environment. They're not really in a world of any type. So that became my next point. I need to make this section a little bit bigger. And this section a little bit smaller. And at this point, we're talking like the 2000, like we're talking like early 2000s at this point. Where I was like, you know, I'm making character art, but I don't have good environments to put them in. That's fallen to the wayside. So that got me really lean. When I was a little kid, 5 years old or whatever, waiting for the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon and Mighty Orbots to come on in the morning on Saturday mornings, I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and play with Legos in the den in front of the TV. We had a remote control that had a white wire that connected to the cable box. This is like 1981, and yeah, I think this is right. Let's make this just a bit bigger here. And Bob Ross came on TV at like 6:30 in the morning on PBS, and then Mighty Orbots would come on at 7, and then Dungeons and Dragons was on CBS at I think 7:30, and then the day would cascade out from there. But whatever it was like I think Flash Gordon, the cartoon Flash Gordon was on like at 8 o'clock, yada yada yada. So I had spent. I always ended up watching, Bob Ross and stuff in the morning, and so once I was realizing my environments weren't as good as my anatomy at this point, I need to up the game on my environments. That's what got me. I want to say it was like 2010 maybe. I was doing, I did a couple hundred different Bob Ross paintings in Photoshop, had figured out how to duplicate those techniques. So that exploded my my environmental work. And then at that point, it's like the thing that's really lagging behind everything else now is mechanical, like drafting and technical stuff, like objects and mechanics. That is a little off. So let's bring this in here. I know there's a lot of steps that I'm missing, but that's like roughly the path that I took to get to where I am. Hey, look at that. We built a thing. Now it's proper. This is where we started. And this is where we've gotten to. I think this needs to be slimmed down. I think I need to... Yeah, let's take this. Let's slim this down a smidge. Hold on. I see the conversation. I'll catch up with you guys in a second. There we go. Yeah, it's still good. The cartoon is still damn good, man. And I am aware of Bionicles, but I never invested time into it. But I know there is a large contingent of creators that really like the Bionicle world and the lore that goes into it. So lots of respect to that. It was after my time, and so I never got into the Bionicle kick. That was like early 2000s, if I'm not crazy. I saw a documentary about Bionicles, about the people that created it, and like the corporate tale of getting that sold to Lego to like reinvigorate the Lego IP. Way back in, I want to say, like 1985-ish or so, when Transformers was first airing in America. I was still in the Legos. At that point, I was making aircraft carriers and jets and stuff. Like I'd take Lego, like I would take like Lego have these base plates, right? And like the lunar base plates, so they could have these like big these plastic forms, like you have all the dots on a Lego board like this, right? And they have these big plastic molds of like craters and stuff on them. And then some of the base plates would have like roads on them, or like, and they were like really modular. So like you'd have a road curve like this, so you could like lay down plates together. And then there would just be giant blank plates that were just nothing but dots on them, right? So what I would do, hold on, what time is it? Oh shit, it's 7:50. Okay, well, hey, congratulations to us. We got our base frame built, and we'll be able to continue with that. So we'll finish that tomorrow. But I just want to take a quick second here because I like geeking out on this. What I would do with Lego is I'd take like, say, 3 base plates. And so this is like 3 feet at this point. Like a Lego thing was like, I think it was like 10 inches. It's like 10 inches by 30 inches is roughly how big that would be. And then I would, I would build up walls on them here. Like with Lego bricks. Like I just stack layers of bricks. Like 2 by 4 or 2 by 8 bricks or whatever. I'd lay those all down. And then, so what I do here, let's zoom in a little bit here to a corner. What I would do is, oh shit, I locked up. Hold on, I'm gonna hit save real quick, and I have to relaunch the program real fast. Sometimes Photoshop locks up. It should be fine. Phew. All right, zoom back in here real quick. All right. Okay, so what I would do is I'd have the walls built up here over the base plate. Here's the base plate here. And then here's the walls of Lego, like build up like maybe like 10 layers. So like it was like a good 6 or 8 inches high. So I'd have this top wall here of like Lego bricks like that. And then what I would do is I'd take, highly technical drawing here, I'm trying to get it right. Here would be the corner, right? And then what I would do is I'd take bricks out like this. So like if I had a brick wall that was like 2 pips wide, I would take another, like a thin layer here that was 3 pips. And then I would build up a stack here. And then I'd put a base plate in this little groove here. And then I would put another piece over it like a clamp, like a C-clamp. So then when I'm making base plates, when I can make base plate aircraft carriers here, and then I could stack another base plate on top of it. And the whole thing would have a C-clamp frame around it. Because all the base plates were the same size, I'd have, so it'd be like this, and then you have like this little bip here, and then you have another. So I could stack these up, and I wouldn't go more than, I could do 2 layers and maintain the stability of the structure. But I think the biggest one that I made was a 2 by 4 base plate. So here to here, like this. Right? And then I have the whole framework, and then it would be 1, 2 layers, so there'd be this internal layer, and then you'd have another internal layer, and then you'd have the top deck. And then I'd have all my planes and stuff sitting, and I had like a little... this is the 80s, so I didn't take any pictures of this shit. But I'd have a whole fleet of these things. Like the aircraft carrier would be the big one, and then I'd have a destroyer that would be like 3 base plates like this. I could build a destroyer like, you know, with like big turrets and stuff on it. And I'd have a whole fleet of these in my basement that, since they're on base plates and they have a smooth floor and we had a carpet, we could just skirt them along the floor. So me and my friends, we just build these huge fleets of ships, and then we would destroy them. We would destroy them all. We were trying to gamify Legos with D&D, trying to figure out a way, like, if we roll dice, like we can like each turret could take 2 hits, and it was we never figured it out because we were 10. But I was really proud of being able to figure out the C-clamp method to be able to create stacking structures. And if it got more than 3 layers high, it started to become unstable. But there was enough bandwidth and there was enough space between each layer that I could store planes inside of them. So I was trying to figure out, when I finally stopped when I was 14, I was trying to figure out how to build elevators to be able to go up from level to level, so I could take planes out of the interior and then raise them up to the top deck so they could take off. But then I was having issues about like lifting things off and being able to see inside of it. It became complicated, which is why I didn't want to have more than 2 layers, because I could lift off the carrier deck to expose the underlayer, but it was the bottom layer that I was having a really difficult time interacting with. And the less wall I had to be able to get into that space and manipulate it, the less stable it was, so it'd start to crumble. So anyway, that's some fun stuff that we would do with Legos. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. So anyway, yeah, they were fun. So anyway, that was something I really enjoyed discovering. It was fun. I'm going to get rid of that layer, and now we just want to clean this up a bit here, and then I got to bounce out of here like in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. But we'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm going to be online tonight on Wally DM's channel. I'll post a link in my Discord server. It'll be at 5 o'clock Seattle time PST, or 8 p.m. East time. We're going to be playing. This will be the first time I've played Shadow Dark, but after reading the rules last night, it's pretty simple, you know, as advertised. So I'll have fun doing that. And I haven't decided if I'm going to jump back on and stream later on tonight. My gut's telling me that I'm not going to, which makes me sad, because I love working on the Bastion campaign, but I really value the opportunity to play with other creators. Let's do that. Okay, we fixed our anatomy. Congratulations to us. When we come back tomorrow, we'll finish this and then probably move on to like the ice kiln or the seat of Lamnia. We'll see where that goes. But oh no, I gotta finish the banneret. Technically, that's not done yet. It's not looking bad, but it's also not actually done. Let's expand the size on this a little bit. So we shouldn't have. I'm happy. I'm almost happy. Yeah, I'm happy with how this is turning out. Let's just fix this a smidge. And then Friday, yeah, tomorrow's Friday, so we'll be back on tomorrow morning to work on this. We're going to be back at lunchtime, probably like around 12:30 or so Seattle time, PST. We'll be back on to convert the Artificer Artillerist to the Martial Power System. We did the Cartographer last week. On Monday, we did the Battlesmith. And so we'll continue that effort with the Artillerist on Friday. On Monday, actually, we're playing D&D on Monday, so I don't think I'm going to have a lunch stream on... No, I don't have a lunch stream on Monday anyway. It's Tuesday. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday. We'll do the Armorer. And then Friday next week, we'll do the Alchemist. And then we'll be done in revising the Artificer until Wizards does something new with it. But it'll be good enough for playtesting. And then Monday night, we'll be back doing more Bastion campaign design. And yeah. And it is 7:59, so it is time for me to bounce. I am out of here, guys. Y'all have a great day too. Thanks, Domo. And thanks for showing up, folks. Anyone that's interested in this stuff, I'm here like, you know, 9 times per week. So like, subscribe, bell icon, jump in my Discord if you're interested in talking shop, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Cheers.